Good morning and welcome to the Division E Spring Contest. My name is Keith Nielsen. I am going to be your Sergeant at Arms for the day. I'm very excited about today. It's going to be a wonderful event. We have some great speakers. Just talking to them briefly, all wonderful people. But I'm going to go ahead and get started and turn it over to our contest chairperson, and that's the lovely and talented Kristen Bruckman. Kristen.
Lovely and talented. I'm lovely and talented. Who knew?
I do.
I suppose I'm going to have to pay him extra for that, huh?
Yep.
I apologize for the delay. We will make some adjustments to our planned workshop in order to make up some of the time. We had a situation this morning. One of our area governors, who is an integral part of this contest, had got the call this morning about 6 o'clock and called me at 6:15. His mother has been in hospice for the last 2 weeks, and today's the day. So he is not here, which means that there had to be some very rapid reshuffling when we all arrived. Thank you so much for being patient with that. I am going to welcome the lovely and talented Keith Nielsen back to give us our thoughts for the day with Legacy Keith Nielsen.
Go.
Madam Contest Chair, honored guests, fellow Toastmasters, Legacy. Whether you're at work, at home, or even here at Toastmasters, everything you do contributes to the way that people will remember you. So what will your legacy be? I was fortunate enough last year to win the District 19 Toastmaster of the Year. Am I proud of that accomplishment? Absolutely. And you ask, what was so difficult about being Toastmaster of the Year? Was it traveling to all the Toastmaster events? Absolutely not. Was it going to all the division contests and district contests? No. The hardest part about becoming Toastmaster of the Year was sitting at my computer and clicking download on that application form. I'm challenging each and every one of you today to go out to the district website and download your Toastmaster of the Year application. Fill it out and show District 19 how proud you are of all the things that you did to support our members in the district this year. It's been a joy the last year being able to be the District 19 Toastmaster of the Year. I have my trophy proudly displayed at work, so when Deanna and Lenny walk by my desk, they have to see my hardware. So please, go out, download the form, and turn it in. I'd like to see at least one contestant from every club in Division E. A few years ago when I was division governor, I said we were going to bring the E. And since that time, I'm proud to say that Division E has brought the energy, the excitement, and the enthusiasm to the district. Let's continue that this year and have a representative from every club for Toastmaster of the Year. Madam Contest Chair.
Thank you so much, Keith. Keith was the Division E Toastmaster of the Year and went on to win the district. So we are doubly honored to have him with us today. We have finally got to the beginning of this contest. We have some dignitaries I would like to introduce. District 19 Governor Kelly Nielsen. Don Wadley, who is the District 19 Public Relations Officer. Don is also serving as Assistant Area 92 Governor. He is being the legs for a wonderfully capable member of my leadership team who happens to be a member of the Hilltop Toasters Club in Moline. He is behind bars and cannot get out to do his club visits, so Don has been making those visits for him. But Ramiro has been a fabulous area governor and has really kept Don hopping. He's firing off missives every week. Do this, I would like to see you do this. What is going on with this club? He's been very, very involved. And I am very proud to have Ramiro as a member of this leadership team. He's making a huge difference in his own life and in the lives of his club members at the prison. That takes care of all of the dignitaries except our club presidents. If you are a club president, would you please rise? Thank you all so much for serving our members that way. The first contest today is the Table Topics contest. Earlier, the contestants drew lots to determine their speaking order. The order of the contestants will be number 1, Mary Ann Chu. Number 2, Tamra Binder. Number 3, Rahul Vats. Number 4, Judy Reedy. I'll repeat their names. Mary Ann Chu, C-H-E-W. Number 2, Tamra, T-A-M-R-A, only has 2 A's in it, Binder. Number 3, Rahul Vats, R-A-H-U-L-V-A-T-S. Number 4, Judy Reedy, R-E-E-D-Y. For a review of the rules of the Table Topics contest, please welcome Chief Judge Don Wadley.
Thank you, Madam Contest Chair. Most welcome guests. And all you fellow Toastmasters, good to see you all. As Chief Judge of this contest, I confirm that we have equal judging representation for the division involved in this contest. The judges, timers, and ballot counters have been briefed and are fully aware of their responsibilities. In addition, the contestants and the contest sergeant at arms have met for a briefing regarding the rules and procedures for the contest. Ask the chief timer to please review the timing procedure for the contestants and observers and have a final check of the timing lights.
Table topics. Timing will begin with the contestant's first definite verbal or nonverbal communication with the audience. This will usually be the first word uttered by the contestant, but would include any other communication, such as sound effects, a staged act by another person, etc. Table topic length is 1 to 2 minutes. A contestant will be disqualified for speaking less than 30 seconds or more than 2 minutes and 30 seconds. The green light will be turned on at 1 minute. The yellow light will be turned on at 1 minute 30 seconds. The red light will be turned on at 2 minutes and will remain on until the speech ends. Any contestant is disqualified whose presentation time is less than the minimum time or more than the maximum time just noted. No signal shall be given to indicate that a presentation has gone into overtime. In the event of a technical failure of the lights, a contestant is allowed 30 seconds extra overtime before being disqualified. We also have these backup green, yellow, and red cards in case the timing lights fail. If you'd like to turn around and see the lights and the cards that we would use. Thank you. Kristen, do I have an assistant?
You do. Susan Anderson is your assistant.
Oh, good. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Joe. As Chief Judge, I remind all in the room, if it is necessary to leave, do so only during the 1 minute judging periods. The Sergeant-at-Arms will allow re-entry during a subsequent 1-minute period. Additionally, there is to be silence during that 1 minute. Please do not disturb judges' deliberations and marking of their ballots. If anyone has electronic equipment, such as pagers, cell phones, I left mine at home, I was wise. Deactivate them now. There should be no disturbances during the contest. There should be no pictures taken during the contest. Pictures may be taken during the interview session immediately following the contest. This contest is being videotaped. Protests regarding originality or eligibility are limited to the judges and contestants and shall be made to the contest chair or to me as chief judge prior to the announcement of winners. For this contest, the table topics contest, the contest chair will review the procedures. Are there any questions? Not.
We have a table topics question. Everybody ready? Whether you are or not, we're going. Have fun. I will have all of the contestants, as soon as I finish the instructions, all of the contestants except contestant number 1 will leave with the Sergeant-at-Arms, Keith. I will read the question twice. The contestant will be able to read along as I read the question aloud. And then we'll have the allotted time to respond. As soon as the question is given back to me and I go over to sit in that chair, the contestant may begin answering the question. Contestants, you may speak from the lectern or not, as you choose. Are there any questions? We are in order. Let the contest begin. Sergeant-at-Arms Keith, will you take contestants 2, 3, and 4 to the next room? All right. Contestant number 1, Mary Ann Chu. Mary Ann Chu, contestant number 1. Mary Ann, how do communication and leadership skills fit into this week's tragedies? I'll read the question again. How do communication and leadership skills fit into this week's tragedies?
Good morning, Madam Contest Chair, fellow Toastmasters, and guests. This week, we have one of the most memorable tragedy, sad memories. We lost some valuable citizens in Boston, and also many are injured. This incident changed the life of many, many Americans, and also people around the world. How would communication and leadership help in this tragedy? I will first talk about how leadership will help, and then followed by communication. So, leadership. Someone will have to stand up and make a decision. During times like this, many people are lost. Many people are so afraid that sometimes thoughts couldn't connect. So we need someone who are calm enough, who can make decisions to step up, to lead everybody, to help arrange what should be done and what is more important than the others. Number 2, communication. How would communication help? When things had to be done, it has to be communicated first. People have to understand everybody has to understand what has to be done first, then what comes next, what comes last. If a leader knows what he wants to do in mind and do not communicate well, the members don't know what to do, don't know how to help. So, by communicating correctly, making sure that every single helper knows what's the goal, it will help. So thus, communication and leadership is very important in this tragedy. Thank you.
Mr. Timer, may we have 1 minute of silence on the clock, please? Contestant number 2, Tamra Binder. Tamra Binder, contestant number 2. How do communication and leadership skills fit into this week's tragedies? I'll read the question again. How do communication and leadership skills fit into this week's tragedies?
How do leadership skills and communication skills fit into this week's tragedies? Honored guests, fellow Toastmasters, Madam Contest Chair, this is a tough question because it brings sadness to all our hearts to know that there is this kind of tragedy in the world. But when we have strong leadership skills to bind the assailants, that's what brings closure to the situation. And when you see those leaders standing in front and communicating how they captured the assailants, it brings closure and it gives us peace and it lets us know, even if tragedy happens, even if we cannot prevent it, we can find resolution. We can move on. They inspire us. Great leaders with good communication skills, they inspire us. They set that vision for tomorrow. They set that vision to help us all come together. And it's in that vision that we will find peace and we will find hope. We cannot prevent tragedy. We can't prevent people from bombing marathons or buildings. We can do our best. We can do the research. We can stop it. But we don't have total control. And sometimes that creates fear. And that's where leadership comes in, to give us that sense of peace, to give us the control back that we think we've lost. When they can communicate that well, they give us our vision and they give us our hope back. Great leadership skills and great communication skills are the answer to everything in life. And
Mr. Time. Contestant number 3, Rahul Watts. Rahul Watts, contestant number 3. Rahul, how do communication and leadership skills fit into this week's tragedies? I'll read it again. How do communication and leadership skills fit into this week's tragedies?
Thank you, Madam Contest Chair. Fellow Toastmasters, honored guests and dignitaries, and viewers at home, my name is Rahul Watts. How do leadership and communication skills fit into this week's tragedies? This question I've been asking myself for this past week. I was feeling very sad at the atrocities, at the heinous acts that took place this past week, not over here in America, but all over the world. Acts like committing rape to a 5-year-old kid, bomb blast in a Boston Marathon. I mean, those acts are committed by people who are not willing to share what they have and talk it out. If you cannot talk out what's within you, you take measures which you will repent later. If you can talk out to people who are willing to share and guide you on the right path, those acts can be prevented. So I really feel there's a lot of things which communication skills can help people in taking them onto the right path, in doing good for the world. And we need people, we need leaders like Mahatma Gandhi, Nelson Mandela, and a lot more to guide those people onto that track. So reviewing onto all those things, I feel we as human beings should take measures to make sure we communicate, to make sure we talk to our fellow human beings. There's nothing better than speaking your heart out. Do speak and take leadership to prevent such acts. Thank you, Madam Contest Chair.
One minute of silence. Contestant number 4, Judy Reedy. Judy Reedy, contestant number 4. Judy, how do communication and leadership skills fit into this week's tragedies? I'll read it again. How do communication and leadership skills fit into this week's tragedies?
Thank you, Madam Contest Chair. Guests, fellow Toastmasters, dignitaries. How do leadership and communication skills fit into this week's tragedies? Well, let me say, first of all, there had to be leaders in this horrible tragedy that would lead the EMTs, the other medical staff, the poor victims, the victims' families. They had to lead them to healing, to medical attention, and they also had to lead and communicate the fact that these 2 men would be found and they would be brought to justice. I believe that just because there are a couple of dirty drops of water in the ocean, that doesn't make for a dirty ocean. That metaphor is what comes to my mind with this whole thing. And although the media tended to, of course, make everything just the worst part about this horrible tragedy, what really was needed by the people who were communicating was the fact that humanity was stepping in, they were supportive, and they were healing. And this all was communicated beautifully by the media and also by everybody who was involved and spread that word. communication and leadership were a big part of getting the word out and getting those terrible murderers brought to justice. Madam Contest Chair.
1 minute of silence, please. Judges, please complete your ballots. Hold them up for the ballot counters to collect. Ballot counters, that would be Michelle. Lenny, could you collect the timers' reports and go with the ballot counters, please? Michelle and Tim. Is a module that you can download, and you will get credit for presenting it towards your advanced leader bronze or advanced communicator silver. It's highly valuable, often makes a huge difference in your club atmosphere. While the ballot counters are working on the ballots, at this time I would like to invite our wonderful district governor, Kelly Nielsen, to come and speak to us. Her title today is Who Will Lead? Kelly Nielsen, Who Will Lead?
Why did you join Toastmasters? Did your manager, director, CEO, a leader in your company tell you Toastmasters or else? Did a friend, a colleague drag you into that meeting, duct tape you to that chair, and not cut you loose till the meeting ended? Or did you seek out Toastmasters and decide that that was your choice to come to the meeting? Another question, what did you feel like after that first meeting? Oh my God, let me out, these people are crazy! Or, wow, did you see all the work they get done, communication, leadership, in one meeting? And they come back for more. Your success depends on you and your journey. Your success depends on where you want to go in life. It doesn't depend on me, it depends on you. And how do you get there? How do you get to the place that you call success? In Toastmasters, we have these great manuals. 2 of them, not one. I know we love working out of the competent communicator, but there's 2 manuals to work from. Have you ever seen a leader that lasts a long time that only knows how to speak well? No, neither have I. Have you seen a leader last a long time if they only have that strategic mind and can set the company up? Neither have I. They need to have that leadership and communication hand in hand for success. That's why there's 2 manuals. If you only work from one, you're only halfway there. Your success is in your hands, and it depends on you to lead you into that direction. But there's these other things in Toastmasters called Toastmasters Leadership Institute. Or how many have you heard them called officer training? Is the true title say anything about officers? Toastmasters Leadership Institute. Where's officer in there? Did you know? Come in. I have a secret. Anyone can go to these things. You do not have to be an officer to attend a TLI. Your next question, why would I go? They only talk about officer stuff, right? No. At these TLIs, there's educational sessions to feed you toward your success. It's not about just officers. There would not be a club if there's only 7 officers, would there? You need to have more people in that room giving you feedback, helping you along the way. Have you gone to a TLI? And even if you're not an officer? I see a couple hands. Do you know those are Toastmasters who've only been here a few years? But they know that they can go. There is nothing in the title of Toastmasters Leadership Institute that says you have to be an officer. I dare you to go to feed your success, to give back to yourself, to value you enough to take your education to the next level. The success that you have is in your hands. Take that opportunity. Then there's this other thing that we do in Toastmasters. You might have heard about it. Area contests, division contests, baseball night at the ballpark. We have international convention in Cincinnati this year. We have these other things, demo meetings. We do these open houses. Have you participated? Oh, wait a minute. Not so many heads shook up and down on that one. Why? Is it because it's only for them? You won't learn anything at those events, will you? They're only for those social people who have to be around everyone else chatting away. I dare you to go. There is so much more in those events than you can imagine. We talked about the success being in your hands. Those events are actually designed for you and for your success. It's for you to grow. It's for you to mentor. It's for you to learn to listen and give feedback. Of course, there's social aspect to it. That's how we grow and we learn. But the success for you is in your hands if you accept the challenge. Now, today I've talked a lot about you and your success. Were you listening? Are you going to take that back with you and use the knowledge you gained today? Are you going to pull out both manuals and open them? Dust them off a little bit. And give them to someone to give you that feedback? That's why there's 2 to help you in your success. Are you going to go to that next TLI on June 29th in the Quad Cities, in your back door? For you, not because you're an officer in the club, because you want to go to those educational sessions and increase your success. And how about those other events that we do? You have 365 days this next year. I challenge you to go to one of those events. Why? Because you are valuable. Your success matters to everyone else in here and in your club. It should matter to you. Your success lies in your hands. Contest Chair, Kristen?
Thank you so much, Kelly. when you came in, you were given not only the agenda, but another sheet with this maroon header on the top. This year, as the division governor, one of the things that I have discovered in traveling around to visit every club in this division is that there are a lot of clubs that don't use the CL manual. I cannot conceive of why not, because that was something that was drummed into me from the very beginning, back in 2009. You do both of these. Doesn't matter which one you do first, but you do both of these, and you can do them simultaneously. You will see my stack of CL manuals back there. They always live in the back of my car, and they come with me to every Toastmasters event, because even if I'm not signed up for a role, somebody might need something to be done at the last minute, and I can get credit. So as a result, I am now working on my 12th CL manual, and I've only been a member since July of 2009. Now, if I can do this, folks, so can you. Take Kelly's challenge. Start bringing your CL manuals. Take that sheet back to your clubs and start challenging your fellow members. It's not hard. It just requires letting your CL manual live in your car or your briefcase. We're going to go ahead and proceed with the rest of our contest, unless someone needs to take a break. Is there anyone here who needs to take just a couple-minute break? We all okay? All right, we're going to go ahead and make up the rest of the time we lost this morning. We will be doing contestant interviews at the end of the contest today, for reasons that will become obvious to you very, very shortly. All of the contestants may remain in the room for international speech contest. Earlier, the contestants drew lots to determine their speaking order. The order of the contestants for international will be number 1, Mary Ann Chu. Number 2, Tamra Binder. Number 3, Anne Marie Jeanette. And number 4, Seth Braun. I'll repeat those names. Number 1, Mary Ann Chu. Number 2, Tamra Binder. Number 3, Anne Marie Jeanette. And number 4, Seth Braun. Mr. Paper Wrangler or Mr. Sergeant at Arms, could you step outside and bring Mr. Braun in here for the reading of the rules? Cindy.
How do I spell Anne Marie's last name, please?
J-A-N-N-E-T-T-E. Is that correct? And Anne does not have an E on the end of it.
And how do you spell Seth's last name?
B-R-A-W, or A-U-N, B-R-A-U-N. Got everybody in here? Don't worry about the banner, Keith. It's got a mind of its own today. For a review of the rules of the International Speech Contest, please welcome Chief Judge Don Wadley.
I will let you know right up front, you're going to get the Cliff Notes version of this because they're about the same. We've got equal representation. Judges, timers, and counters, and ballot counters have been briefed. Sergeant at Arms has met with everybody. If it's necessary, do those only during the, if you have to leave, do it during the 1-minute period. Turn your phones off. And no pictures, except for the video. Eligibility are limited. Protests concerning eligibility, originality are limited to the judges and contestants and shall be made to the contest chair or to me as chief judge prior to the announcement of winners. Let's check the time. Joe?
International speech. Timing will begin with the contestant's first definite verbal or nonverbal communication with the audience. This will usually be the first word uttered by the contestant, but would include any other communication such as sound effects, a staged act by another person, etc. Speech length is 5 to 7 minutes. The contestant will be disqualified for speaking less than 4 minutes, 30 seconds, or more than 7 minutes, 30 seconds. The green light will be turned on at 5 minutes. The yellow light will be turned on at 6 minutes. The red light will be turned on at 7 minutes and will remain on until the speech ends. Any contestant is disqualified whose presentation time is less than the minimum time or more than the maximum time just noted. No signal shall be given to indicate that a presentation has gone into overtime. In the event of a technical failure of the lights, a contestant is allowed 30 seconds extra overtime before being disqualified. We also have these backup green, yellow, and red cards in case the timing lights fail. And if you'd like to turn around, you can see the lights and the cards. And that concludes my announcement. Thank you.
For this international contest, all contestants may remain in the room, but if they choose to remain outside, the Sergeant at Arms will bring them back when it is their turn to speak. Any questions? Contest chair. Let it begin.
Thank you, Don. Contestant number 1, Mary Ann Chu. Do not let your fear defeat you. Mary Ann Chu, do not let your fear defeat you.
I've never done it before. I can't do it. It's too hard. I won't be able to do it. Does this sound familiar to all of you? Madam Contest Chair, and everyone in this room who has had fear in his or her life. Ever since I was a young girl, and throughout college years, my biggest fear was not the fear of public speaking, nor the fear of final exam week. My biggest fear, ladies and gentlemen, was the fear of ghosts. I remember clearly that my mom had to hire monks and feng shui professionals to chase away those dirty spirits in our home in Malaysia. I've always thought to myself, I will never be able to live on my own nor drive myself at night. My fear was too much for me to handle. But my mom always said, do not let your fears defeat you. About 2 years ago, my last roommate was a guy, we'll call him Christian, for the purpose of this speech and also to hide his true identity from the malicious out-of-this-world spirits. Christian always kept all the lamps on, even during the day. He said it is to keep the house bright in order to keep the house clean. So one day when I came home from work, I saw Christian laying on the couch in our living room, hiding under a thick blanket, shaking like a lost puppy. I immediately asked, what's wrong, Christian? He popped his head up and said, I heard noises upstairs. I think there's ghosts upstairs. He got up and asked me to follow him to the kitchen. He stood on a chair, lifted his hand up. Pointing at the ceiling, he said, the noise was just right above here. I was standing just like this in the afternoon, and I heard a firm footsteps up here. I told him that probably it's just the neighbors. But he looked so terrified, and believe me, his hairy and skinny legs were shaking so badly that I could hear his knee bones hitting each other uncontrollably. He looked at me and said, no. None of our neighbors were at home at that time. I don't mean to scare you, but lately I've been hearing weird noises from upstairs, and I swear once when I went up to check, I saw this little girl playing in our bathroom. Needless to say, that terrified me a little. But I needed a place to stay, I kept telling myself. And my mom's familiar voice brought peace to my heart. Do not let your fears defeat you. A few months later, when I was grocery shopping, I heard this central music piece. It's a tribal Indian flute music that caught my attention right away. I bought the CD and played at home that night. Halfway through the second song, I heard this loud noises coming from downstairs. Very quickly, the noise got closer and closer, and then a huge pounding on my door. Open the door! Open the door! It was Christian, trying to catch his breath. I saw three ghosts downstairs. One was looking out from the kitchen window, and two little girls playing and floating around the kitchen. All three of them wearing white long dresses with dark long hair. Do you see it? It's over there. Oh no, it's over here. Do you see it? At that time, I was more terrified than scared. I was more upset than terrified, to tell you the truth. I told him, probably they're just tired of being invisible, or maybe they like watching you running around like a headless chicken, wearing those worn-out Elton John-inspired polka dot underwear of yours. He turned around and walked away. I could see the fear in him. And I think I even saw a puddle of water where he stood. I told him what I was taught. Christian, you are braver than you think. Do not let your fears defeat you. A few months later, I ended up renting an apartment on my own. Some people think that the house was actually haunted. Some people said that Christian was actually trying to get attention. But as for me, all that I had in my mind was that I needed a place to stay, and finding out the existence of those uninvited guests was not going to make me step out from my apartment. This incident taught me a huge life lesson. When people have need, or during tough moments in life, the incident forced us to think differently, and thus help us to push ourselves to do things that we once thought we couldn't do. I would like to encourage every one of you to face your fears in life, because it is by conquering your fear, you find out what you truly are capable of, and thus define who you truly are. I found out that I am braver and stronger than I thought. So, ladies and gentlemen, do not let your fears defeat you. Madam Contest Chair.
One minute of silence for the judges, please. Contestant number 2, Tamra Binder, The Greatest Gift. The Greatest Gift, Tamra Binder.
I'm late for a very important date. No time for you, no time for me. I'm late. My busy job and paycheck take too much time to chase. I run and I hop, and even try to fly. Have you ever seen me drive? There's danger if I dare to stop, and here's the reason why. I'm late. Do you ever feel like Alice in Wonderland's White Rabbit? Honored guest, fellow Toastmasters, Madam Contest Chair, and anyone who doesn't have enough time. As a recovering workaholic, I must confess that I've spent the last 2 decades working 60 hours a week, chasing a dream, chasing a career, chasing a paycheck to validate me. And it's taken me a lifetime to learn that the greatest gift you can give anyone is your time. But lucky for all of us, life's most valuable lessons, they continue to knock until we get it right. And one of my first opportunities to learn this life lesson was in 1989, when I was spending the weekend with a curly-haired special education teacher named Sarah and her 7-year-old daughter, Gracie. When I saw a crayon-written note hanging from the refrigerator. My parents are rich, and they won't buy a TV. Love, Gracie. Sarah, you don't own a TV? No, in this house, we spend time with the people we love. And I want Gracie to learn that the greatest gift you can give anyone is your time. I'm embarrassed to admit, but I was jealous. When I was 7, my dad, he took me fishing every Saturday, and on the way home, he would buy 2 of those glass bottles of Pepsi Cola and a bag of Planters peanuts. And we would pour those peanuts in our Pepsi. And I loved watching those salty peanuts make that carbonation fizz. But by the time I was 10, my parents divorced. The Navy moved Dad to the other side of the world. Mom moved us to Wyoming. And in 1976, there was no Skype, there was no email. And with only a 3rd grade education, Dad struggled to read and write. So he didn't write. And to that little girl, it felt like her daddy had forgotten her. And she tried to be brave, and she tried to be strong, and she tried to forget him too. Who needs your time? During that weekend that I spent with Sarah and Gracie, little Gracie, she taught me how to play the card game euchre for money. And over that weekend, she won enough money that she bought her own TV. But even today, Sarah's never ordered cable. And after decades of working 60-hour weeks, this life lesson, it finally hit home last fall as I sat in the doctor's office with my husband, waiting for the results of his biopsy. And I realized that all those extra hours I spent at work chasing a dream, chasing a career, chasing a paycheck, to validate me, that I would never get a single one of those moments back to spend with this man who has always loved me. Who needs your time? Unlike George Bailey in the movie It's a Wonderful Life, we don't have a guardian angel to show us how important we are to the people around us, to the people who love us. But the power in a single moment you spend with just one person is far greater than you can imagine. And it ripples like a pebble thrown into a pond. Today I share with you the words that Sarah taught Gracie, the words that she taught me, the words that she continues to teach everyone she meets. That the greatest gift you can give anyone is your time. And Gracie, she's grown into a beautiful young woman. She no longer owns a TV, and she put herself through college playing euchre. My husband's early diagnosis gave us many options, and he will make a full recovery. And although Josh, my husband, he's not a man willing to live without a TV or the NFL package, we have agreed to turn off the TV every evening and just spend that time together. And it's in those moments I found my validation. And I'm very grateful for that moment in the doctor's office because it gave me the courage to make that phone call. Dad, I bought 2 Pepsis and a bag of peanuts. Will you take me fishing? I've missed you too. Who needs your time? Madam Contest Chair.
Contestant number 3, Anne-Marie Jeanette. The reason. The reason, Anne-Marie Jeanette.
Thank you, Madam Contest Chair, fellow Toastmasters, and honored guests. Why do bad things happen? This week has really brought that question up. Why do we have to contend with war and famine, murderers and rapists? Like each one of you, I've struggled with these questions in life, but a few years ago, I came to a mind-blowing conclusion. I realized the answer, and I'm going to share it with each of you today. The reason is actually quite simple. Everything happens for a reason. Everything happens for a reason. And it is just that simple. I'm going to give you a few examples today because I definitely see some skeptics in the audience. My senior year of high school, my favorite class was chemistry. I enjoyed it so much, I decided to major in it in college. I had neglected to remember, though, that even though I enjoyed chemistry, I really wasn't very good at it. This was proven my freshman year, first semester, when I found myself failing the introductory level of my chosen profession. I had to drop the course, choose a new major, choose a whole new path in life. And I reluctantly chose business management. So what? Well, obviously, I wasn't meant to be a chemist. I was meant to work in the world of business. I was meant to work in a cube. Unfortunately, I had to fail chemistry to find this out. But I can say with clear-cut certainty that I was meant to be where I am today, and I was meant to be the person you see standing before you. Everything happens for a reason. A few years later, 2009, I had a job that I liked, but not the company. I didn't like that one as much. I stayed with the job, though, because quite frankly, I was afraid of being unemployed. Fate took care of that for me. Got me laid off during the height of the recession, and then kept me there for almost 2 years. What good could possibly come from losing your job? Quite simply, the destination. I ended up moving home to Iowa, my home state where my heart has always been. I got a great job that I love. The boss, but I got a great job that I love at a company I've always admired. I couldn't be happier. Some people might try and refute this by saying, yeah, Maria, it's okay, but that's just all a part of life. You know, you have your ups and your downs. My answer to that is absolutely. In the same reality where mistakes you make lead to learning and growing, in that reality resides my theory that the bad leads to the good. Just as the roller coaster goes down the hill, but also goes back up again, so does the bad lead to the good. Got one more example for you. It's Monday morning. Oh, stretch, reach for the alarm clock. Oh my God, it's 8:30. I forgot to set my alarm. Oh, jump out of bed, throw on some clothes. You're rushing towards the door. Kiss your spouse goodbye, run out the door, and as you're speeding down the street, a lot faster than when I'm walking, you're speeding down the street trying frantically to come up with an excuse for being late for work yet again. When the voice on the radio is slowly starting to register, what is she saying? What, an airplane? No. 2 airplanes have crashed into the World Trade Center. Your office is on the 43rd floor of Building 1, the office you're rushing to right now. The announcer is screaming now, crying, as she describes the building, your office building, collapsing in on itself. Everything happens for a reason. You may be questioning then, well, why didn't those other 3,000 people get to sleep in as well? I don't know. I don't know who decides or how it's decided who gets to sleep in and who dies a tragic death. But I will say that the deaths of those 3,000 people sparked a fever of patriotism and action that this country hasn't seen in over 50 years. Most good repercussions aren't big enough to see. Most good things are small, hidden. So small, they may only be a newfound appreciation for one's own country or one's own life. Everything happens for a reason. Who does decide? Is it God, a higher power, fate, destiny, just a matter of chance? That's up to each one of you to decide for yourself. But whomever or whatever you believe in, I urge you to make it a strong belief. But you have to do more than believe. You must take an active stance to firmly seek out the good that inevitably comes from the bad. You must have a strong belief about the world around you. Everything happens for a reason. Believe in yourself and believe in those words, that everything really does happen for a reason.
Please. Contestant number 4, Seth Braun. Don't be afraid to follow your dreams. Don't be afraid to follow your dreams. Seth Braun.
A long, dimly lit hallway. Open the door to the clink of spoons and the clank of mugs. You can barely see. The smell of strong coffee and pastries. Chatting diners, speaking Icelandic, in total darkness? Am I dreaming? Madam Contest Chair, fellow Toastmasters, dignitaries, and guests. Dreams. You don't have to be afraid to follow them, even in the darkness, if you bring these with you. Vision. Action. Confidence and courage. And this Icelandic diner in the dark wasn't some strange dream. This was a dream come true and the discovery of destiny. It all started when my friend Brian Rochelo, or Rosh, came to me as a client. Seth, I have this crazy dream. I want to do house concerts in Iceland. I've already done them here in the States, in Norway, in Ireland. You know, intimate music venues. I'm going to produce the album, book the tour, and buy the ticket. This was more than a dream. This was a vision. He could see it. He could speak it. He could write it. Just one thing. He needed $10,000. I say, cool. Spreadsheets, timelines, strategies, mindset. He tore it up. He secured the investment. He got online and booked a tour out of nothing. He recorded the album, bought the ticket, and was on his way to Iceland. But not without haters. You know what I'm talking about. The voices around you, the voices in your head, the ones that say, you can't do it, it's not going to work, you're going to lose money, you're going to fail! Fortunately, Rosh brought confidence on the journey. Confidence from the Latin root words con and fidelis, with faithfulness. He was faithful to his dream, and he bolstered that faith by speaking words and speaking truth, and that became his experience. I can do this. I am learning what I need to learn. I believe in myself. I believe in my dreams. Confidence. I can. I am. I believe. Hitchhiking the rugged volcanic landscape, Rosh's confidence came through in two great shows. The northern solstice sun shone down bright and strong. Everything was perfect in the first 4 days of the journey, except the fermented fish. An old Toyota scoops him up and rolls to the venue, a church. Driver unlocks the heavy wooden doors, hops in the Range Rover, and speeds off. 30 minutes before the show, Rosh sets up, nervous. 15 minutes before, no host. 10 minutes, 5 minutes, no audience, 1 minute, no one. And it happens. The low, the fall, the ouch. And all those voices come rushing back into his head like vultures blotting out the light of his dream, flapping their wings, squawking, you can't do it! See, we told you! You don't have what it takes! You're going to lose money! You're going to fail! This time, Rosh packed courage and pulled it out of his bag with a piece of paper and wrote down all of his thoughts and feelings. I'm scared, I'm frustrated, I'm angry. I want to connect, I want audiences to be here. How can I touch heart to heart? He poured that energy into the question, how? Courage. From the French cour, to take heart. And he poured that into his show. Tears streaming down his face. Songs echoing in the cavernous sanctuary to no one but the waxing moon. Packed his bag and his guitar. Fell asleep on a pew. Saints watching over his slumber. That night a storm passed by. A new day dawned. And the pre-collapse economy of Iceland was flowing. Record sales were strong, and the next 2 weeks were all hot springs and cozy living rooms and glasses of wine. Rosh rolled into the Icelandic capital of Reykjavik, hungry for a hearty breakfast. No stinky fish. And he made that stroll through that darkening corridor into that blind cafe and bumped into a chair. Feeling himself tugged, he almost tripped to the right and found a seat. What is this place? The blind waiter says, it's a blind cafe. What can I start you off with? And sitting there, on the journey of living his dreams, savoring the sense of sound and the flavor, in total darkness, a light goes off. A new vision, the answer to the question of how. Don't be afraid to follow your dreams. You have something that only you can give. And if you don't share it with us, we'll never experience it. Rosh followed his dreams, and he took vision, action, confidence, and courage. And because he dared, the world now has the beauty of the Blind Cafe, music and dining in the dark, on tour in Aspen and Austin, Boulder and Burlington, Vermont, Cincinnati and Denver, Portland and Seattle. Don't be afraid to follow your dreams, but make sure to bring these with you. Vision. I can speak it. I can see it. I can write it. Action. Consistent and persistent. Confidence. I can. I am. I believe. And courage. To take heart, face your fear, and turn it into fuel. And if your journey takes you into darkness, that may be just the time the light goes on your destiny. Don't be afraid to follow your dreams. Madam Contest Chair. No!
One minute of silence. Judges, please complete your ballots and hold them up for the ballot counters to collect. First, do we have all of the ballots and the timer's report? All right. Do we have all of the ballots and the timer's report? One more? Okay.
Nice. I hope I drew them on right.
Well, we'll have a close-up to prove it, won't we?
Your hand wasn't shaking. Don't worry.
Contestants, may I have you up here, please? So everyone can stare at you. Wherever you would like to stand, I'm going to start with Area 91. And Anne Marie, since your name comes first in the alphabet, you get to be first. Anne Marie, you are a member of McGraw-Hill Winspirational Speakers. That just happens to be a very convenient club for
So
you.
convenient. I work like 2 aisles down from the meeting room.
Wonderful. And how did you get involved with Toastmasters at McGraw-Hill?
Well, there was a flyer advertising for an open house for Toastmasters. And on the flyer, it mentioned free refreshments and some cookies and such. And I thought, well, it's about lunchtime. So I went to a meeting and everybody was having so much fun and laughing. I decided to stay.
Excellent, excellent. And you have listed here that your interests are dogs, rabbits, and pets.
Yes.
How do dogs and rabbits differ from pets?
Well, let me explain it to you.
Okay.
Okay. So dogs, you know, they got 4 legs and they just kind of like run around. Rabbits tend to hop. So that's one of the main differences between them. Ear length, I'm sure there's something to do with genetics and the DNA code. They both like to lick, they both like to be petted, and they both are the loves of my life.
Wonderful. So dogs and rabbits are your pets?
Yes, they are.
Gotcha. Thank you for clarifying that. Maria, I forgot to give you something. Photo op, photo op.
Photo opping.
Thank you very much for participating. You did an excellent job.
Wait.
Wonderful, thank you.
All right.
Both lovely.
You know, I think I walked right into that one, didn't I?
Pretty much.
Dogs are walking on the ground. Yeah.
Gonna hop
Best
right
way to
into it.
explain it.
I didn't get a whole lot of sleep last night, so that's my excuse. Next from Area 91 is Judy Reedy. Judy, I understand that you are a fairly new Toastmaster. How long have you been involved with our organization?
I am a Toastmaster for the last 9 months. I joined because I started a new social media online marketing business, and I had every intention of doing seminars in front of large groups of people, which scared the bejesus out of me. So I thought the only way that I would be able to get over the fear and do it anyway would be to learn how to speak. And a friend of mine told me about Toastmasters, and I joined, and the rest is history. Here I am.
Wonderful. That's great to know. I have a little certificate of participation for you.
I thank you.
Thank you very much for that.
Beauty.
Good job. Next from Area 92, we have Rahul Watts. And Rahul, I need to pull it. Here we go. I had the wrong sheet ready here. It says your interests are public speaking, softwares, music, cricket, and top way innovators. Can you tell us about a couple of those things?
Looking at the audience, I think public speaking is something that everybody is familiar with. I'll skip on that. Software and music, nah, nobody likes them really. Cricket. Cricket is something interesting that I like to share with you. What do you know of cricket?
Nothing.
Small insect making noise. They chirp while rubbing their legs.
See, that's what I thought. Everybody would think they're bugs. Not really. Cricket is a game. And it's the second most popular game in the world, behind soccer. Well, I'm a very big, huge, crazy cricket fan. And cricket, you know, is just like baseball, played in a little different manner. If you got to learn, there's a club, come down in Fairfield, and I'll teach you. So that's for cricket. And then I'll tell you a little bit about Top Innovators, which I listed down there. It's a group that I started way back in 2003. I was the founder president of this group. And it's still running back in India. Kind of similar lines along Toastmasters, TED Talks. We do a bunch of stuff just to promote the talent that people have. Because here's something that I really believe in. Everybody has something unique to share with this world. They sometimes lack motivation or a stage to show it. And that's what we try to provide them with, so that they can show their talent to the world. So that's that.
I'm afraid my face is going to.
I took the picture right away, I just wanted to,
You just wanted us to suffer. All right. Our next contestant from Area 92 is Seth Braun. Seth, it says one of your notable accomplishments is a 72-day outward bound course. Can you tell us about that?
Yeah, absolutely. I was a high school dropout and a drug addict. So by the time I was 18 or 19 years old, I had cleaned myself up and I needed to do something to feel good about myself. I needed a challenge. I needed to feel like I had what it took to bring my gifts to life. And I said, what's something challenging I could do? I found the biggest, baddest, meanest, nastiest course I could possibly take. An outward bound course for 72 days in Maine and the White Mountains and sailing and canoes. One kid left because he got a hernia. I got a hernia. I didn't tell anybody. I stayed on the course. Pulled a muscle. I mean, it was brutal. This was the kind of stuff, you wake up at 5, jump in the Atlantic Ocean, it's the end of October, it's cold, then you have to be nice to people, you have to communicate. When you did this, I felt this way because I want this, and my request to you is this. You know, all of these leadership, high communication things in the midst of very challenging outdoor initiatives. But in those 72 days, I learned more than any other period of my life. It was amazing.
Wow, thank you so much.
No.
Certificate of participation for
Thanks.
you.
Wow.
All right, next from Area 93 is Mary Ann Chu. Mary Ann, it says that you are a financial analyst for H&I Corporation here in Muscatine. You live in Davenport, probably about a mile from me.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, we'll have to have coffee.
Okay.
Now, that all sounds very professional and scary and focused, and it says here that your interests are travel, language, singing, and dancing, which does not sound all that professional and straight-laced. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Sure. And I actually have one more I forgot to put on it. Shoes. Even sandals itself, I have 5 of them at home. And my vision or my dream is to have a whole wall full of shoes, hopefully like 100 of them. Traveling would be my dream. I guess I've been to Taiwan, Hong Kong, Thailand, Singapore, France, South America, and hopefully I can travel more.
Wonderful. Wonderful. Oh, Mary Ann, you actually get 2. Sorry.
Photo op.
Oh.
You need one more?
Okay, I got it. All right.
All right, we're done.
Area 94. Representing Area 94 today, Tamara Binder. Okay, Tamara, you live in Clinton.
Yes,
You're representing a club in the Quad Cities,
yes,
and you just helped start a club in Dubuque.
yes. And we just chartered, right, Kelly?
Yes.
Thanks to Kelly.
Awesome. Wonderful job. Congratulations. Now,
I get around.
yes. You do. How is your gas mileage these days? What's your gasoline budget?
You know what? I have a car that has like 200,000 miles on it, So with no car payment, I'm not worried about the gas mileage. But yeah, I could get a little better gas mileage, I could. Just for the environment and the paycheck.
It says your interests are golf, movies, horse racing, and Toastmasters. Huh.
Who would have guessed?
Who would have thought? Would you care to tell us a little bit about some of those interests?
Yeah, I love movies. I don't like scary movies. I only love girly movies. Yes. They're romantic comedies. And my favorite movie is Moonstruck. I've seen it probably 20, 30 times. And anytime I'm in a bad mood, I watch it. And there's a couple of lines in the movie that just crack me up every single time, especially when Olympia Dukakis asks Cher, "Do you love him?" And she says no. And Olympia Dukakis says, "Well, that's good, because if you love him, he'll drive you crazy. This way you'll have a good marriage." Well, if you know the story, Cher goes out and finds the brother and falls in love with the brother of her fiance. She comes home and says, "Oh, Mom, I'm going to marry Ronnie." And Olympia Dukakis asks, "Do you love him?" And she says, "Oh, yes, Mom, I love him very much." And she says, "Oh, me, oh, my, oh." But it's a hilarious movie. I recommend you watch it.
Step out.
There we go. All right. Oh, that's much better.
Congratulations to all of our contestants. I'm really glad I'm not judging today. Really glad. Oh my God. You guys are amazing. Thank you so much for everything you've given to us. We all have a lot of things to think about. We learned some lessons from each of you. You did a wonderful job. Can I have another round of applause for Joe, could you get the door? I believe our ballot people are locked out. Contestants, you can have a seat. Thank you again. Do we have results?
Time.
All right, contestants, I will need to have your certificates back in order to put your names on them, because your names are not on there. The rest of it is on there, but we want to get your name on there as well. Starting with table topics, second place, you all know the drill. The second place finisher must be available to head to Fort Dodge in May on the 17th and 18th to represent Division E if our first place finisher is not able to go. As I said, I'm really glad I was not a judge today because it had to have been tough. Our second place finisher for Division E table topics is Mary Ann Shue.
Wait, stay still.
Kelly.
Yeah, you too, Kelly. All right. Great photo.
Our first place winner in Division E table topics is Tamara Binder. For international, again, second place needs to be ready to move on in the event our first place finisher cannot compete on May 18th in Fort Dodge. Second place in international, Tamara Binder.
Joe?
First place, Seth Brown.
Always one in every crowd.
That concludes today's contest. I have a number of people to thank. First of all of you for dealing with the last minute changes that we had to deal with. I really appreciate those of you who stepped up to serve as judges to replace those we lost. Thank you so much. You had a tough job today. Thank you. I would like to thank our ballot counters, Chief Ballot Counter Michelle Bailey, Tim Losey, and Lenny Benke. Our Sergeant at Arms, Keith Nielsen. Chief Timer, Joe Rao. Assistant Timer, Susan Anderson. Chief Judge, Don Wadley. First and second place winners, please meet with me to fill out some paperwork and let me put your names in your certificates. We will adjourn. Thank you all for coming out today. We will be having a Division E Council meeting at 1 o'clock or shortly thereafter. So those of you who are invited to that, please stay.
Wait. There's someone else.
Who did I forget?
You silly
Kristen Bruckman.
Kristen Bruckman. Ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for pulling it all together under very trying circumstances. And you've got a good turnout. It came off regardless. The show must go on.
Yes.
Kristen, thank you.
I did realize who I forgot. Our videographer, Tom Trainer. Tom, you always do such a fabulous job, and I really appreciate everything that you've given to the district. Tom is present at nearly every event that the district puts on to get a video recording of the contest or of the event. And his videos are always very professionally done. Tom, we really appreciate everything you're doing today and everything you've done for the district over the years. Thank you. Again, take the Moments of Truth worksheet back to your clubs. Along with that CL sheet, there are several of those left. So if you would like to take multiples to present to your club, feel free. Thank you for coming.